Gonna hit play, and now I'm gonna walk all the way around the truck because I can't get by the camera. What is up, people? It is freezing cold, but right now, live on YouTube, Daws Custom, episode 1. But first, don't forget, Thursday from now until Christmas.
Mr. Grinch.
Christmas is not on Thursday, but the Thursday before Christmas, I'll be posting 5 episodes from now until Christmas. So, hit that subscribe button, the other notification button that notifies you when I post something. But until then, one quick thing, I just want to say thanks. Without you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. I don't know what I'd be doing. I guess messing with this stuff, except not videoing it and showing you guys. But I hope I show you some entertainment. I've worked pretty hard on it, so I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned, more hot riding to come. What's up, guys? I'm out in the square body this morning. Just went and picked up a rear end from my uncle for $100. Now we're heading back to the garage. Just drop it off. Probably won't start on it today, but now we'll have a rear end so we can start on it. We're gonna clean it up a little bit, probably paint it. Get it ready to stick in. Probably take my brake lines off of this rear end that's in the truck and put on that one. So we got quite a bit to do before we can even stick it in. We just picked up some breakfast. Now we're heading to the garage. It's a nice rainy day. It'll be a good day to do it. Alright guys, we're back at the garage. Get ready to unload the rear end. This is a 10 bolt GM rear end. I'd like to have a 12 bolt, but I got a good price on it for $100. Guy took it out of the truck, put in a 12 bolt. So the rear end in my truck is a 10 bolt. It gets hot and it's got a vibration, so I think it's got some bad bearings in it. So instead of trying to take that one apart and rebuild it, I know this one was good. So I'm just gonna swap them out real quick and be done with it, so I can get it back on the road. Other than that, pretty much straightforward. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. Think I'm gonna put my brake lines on this one. These look like they've been replaced before. They don't look like the factory ones. Mine's still all factory. I don't even know if my emergency brake cable is hooked up. This one still has it, but it's been cut, so that doesn't really matter. I gotta get new ones anyway. It's got fairly new brake shoes on it, so I shouldn't have to replace those. Mine's got brand new ones on it. I just went through the brakes on this when I was rebuilding it, so shouldn't have to swap any of that, hopefully. But I'm gonna take the rear cover off of it, check everything out, make sure it looks good. Hopefully the bearings are okay. Put some new fluid in it, slap it in there, and be done with it. We'll be back on the road again. So, I'm gonna go try to find some help. Don't have anybody here to help me. So, be right back.
2 hours later.
Alright, so we got the rear end all mocked up on jack stands. All the stuff is zip tied to the axle, so we're going to cut the zip ties. I had it sitting here, and the yoke was pointing down, it was leaking fluid, and it's got a little water in it, so that kind of concerns me. It might have a little water in it from sitting. There was an open port right there for a vent, but we're going to start stripping it down. It's still got all the brake lines and emergency cables on it. we're gonna take all that off and put some of my stuff back on there. The brakes look pretty good. This side has had some new stuff put on it, so probably not going to change none of this. But now we're going to start tearing it down and start checking into it. I got the rear end cover off. It's pretty filthy inside. It's got a lot of grime in it. It's like surface rust, that kind of thing. So it's gonna have to be all pulled apart, cleaned out. It's really nasty. It's probably alright. I am gonna pull the front pinion off, change the seal. It's a little wet, filling around the front. But the outside bearings should be good. Probably pull those out anyway and check them out. But we're gonna go ahead and try to pull this rear end apart. There wasn't much grease in there. Oil. I don't know if they drained it out before they pulled it out, but it doesn't look too bad. So now we're gonna pull it out. All right, so now, since we gotta pull this rear end apart, clean it, which you should always, no matter who you buy it from, no matter what they tell you they did to it, probably should at least pull the diff cover off and at least check it out, because you don't know what you're buying. I got it cheap. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But always check. Now we're gonna take the diff completely out so we can clean it. So what we're gonna do, you don't have to clean it, but I'm gonna make sure I get it all good and clean, make sure I get all the crud out of it, just so I don't have any problems later down the road. There's 4 5/8 bolts right here in the carrier. These are where your carrier bearings sit. It's what the diff rides on. There's 2 5/8 bolts. So we're going to go and take both all 4 5/8 bolts out. Then you'll need a pry bar to pop it out because it presses in there. So you're going to need a pry bar to pop it out. So we're going to start taking the 5/8 bolts out now. Alright, so it's kind of a pain in the butt. I have to go next door sometimes and get tools because I have really no tools over here. That's just lovely. Alright, first thing we're going to do, you got to take the axles out before you can get the diff out. To pull the axles, you can, first you got to take this bolt out, and that holds the pin that holds all the spider gears in. That's going to be Alright, kind of a pain in the butt, but I have to go get tools next door because I'm not fully moved into the garage yet. All my tools are next door. First thing we're going to do is take this bolt out. This bolt holds in this pin right here. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it holds the spider gears. There's 4 gears here. The axles slide through the spider gears, and this holds to the ring gear, and that's what makes this turn. It's not supposed to move like that, but I got the carrier already loose, so it's moving like that. All you're going to do, take this loose. Probably got a name, know it off the top of my head. Little bolt, that out, and this pin pop right out. Now, some fun history. In my white truck, this was froze in there because it had water in the rear end, and it caused it all to seize up, and it would not come out. I never got it out. I had to beat it out with a punch and a hammer. Luckily me, that would come out just fine. Now, go to either side, it doesn't matter which side first, but push your axle will slide in a little bit. Then, there's a little washer. Little washer that slides onto your axle like this, and you pull the axle and it pulls it tight. Then this little pin stays up against the washers, the seat clips, that's what they're called, and holds the axles in. The seat clips don't really matter. See, that one just fell right out. That's what you want it to do. Fall apart. The seat clips don't matter. But when you pull the diff out, these carriers, I don't know why that one's so tight, this should be able to loose. These carriers, the bolts don't matter. Carrier, see there's the carrier bearing, that's the bearing that the diff rides in. There's a little washer right here, don't know if you can see it or not, I'll show you in a minute. The washers need to go back on the same side when you put it back together. I believe that the shims were put there from the factory. They were cut specifically for both sides, I believe. I don't know for sure. But just make sure they go back on the same side. So just try to watch where they go if they fall on the floor. Now all we're going to do is pull the axle out. The axle will come right out like that. You don't even have to take them all the way out. I just pull them out about a foot, maybe not even that. Then your diff will come out. I already have mine broke loose, but all you need to do to get it out is pressed in there with the bolts. Just take a little pry bar, pop it loose like that, and it should come right out. Just make sure you take the axles out first, because it will not come out if the axles are still in. Just like that. Always try to grab one of the shims. Sometimes they don't fall out, but this diff is heavy. That's your shim. Just a little thin round shim. There's two of them. Just make sure you know which one goes on which side. Always zip tie them together, label them, and just make sure they go back on the same side. I don't know if it matters, but all right. Now we're ready to clean it out. So the best way, I guess, to clean it out, in my opinion, is just get some brake cleaner, tilt it up, spray in there really good, wipe it out, spray out again. Just make sure you get all the crud out of there so it's not in your bearings. Make sure you wash the bearings out really good. Your spider gear, you can take your spider gears out and wash them individually with brake cleaner. And when you get all that done, you can put it all back together. Spider gears, don't believe it matters where they go. So take a closer look here. chair for the noise. So that's your carrier bearing. That's your ring gear right here. That's what turns the pinion. This is your pinion gear. And it attaches to your drive shaft. That's where the drive shaft bolts in. Goes in there, rides in there, and turns the pinion. So now, we're gonna take all this and just clean it out with brake cleaner really clean, and it'll be ready to go back together. So now I got everything cleaned up, ready to put it back together. It's all cleaned up. I got the housing cleaned out. It was pretty dirty, but I think everything's gonna be fine. The bearings feel good. There's no wear on them, it looks like. I think it was just like that because it had been sitting for a while. So now we're gonna slap it all together and see I have it laid out. That's how I have it laid out. That's what goes on which side. The spider gears up here, it don't really matter. You can go on either one. But I laid it out like I pulled it out of the housing, cleaned it, and then laid it down. So now we will put it back together. And then I will have to change the outer seals. And then I'm gonna change the pinion seal. I did want to show you this. So the bigger spider gear, it has a washer that goes, sits right there. That slides over this like this. Then just slide in just like that. Then I'll show you how to put this back together. Same thing on the other side. Goes just like that. Now these will fall out. Give me just a second. These will fall out if they don't have the pin in them. And you don't do this until you get it back in the housing. But take the little spider gear, put it in here like this. It's back in here, sit. Then the other spider gear goes on the other side like this. They have to be both in at the same time. Then you spin it, line your hole up that the pin goes through, line it up, then put your pin back in and your bolt. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble it inside the housing. I just wanted to show you how it goes back together before I do it in fast motion. Then it's pretty straightforward. This goes over the bearing. And your shim goes like this. As you put it in, then you put your carriers in and bolt them in and torque it down. Don't forget to torque it. You don't want it to come apart. Alright, it's pretty straightforward. There's a seal right here. We're going to replace these. Just pull the axle out. I need to check up inside of it. Yeah, look at that. It's not what we want. So, I'm going to check out the axle tube, but we're going to pop this seal out. All you have to do is take a pry bar, need a hammer, cut it in half. So I'm probably going to have to go get one. Just don't tear your bearing up, but put your pry bar in there. And just take and hit your pry bar, and it will knock the seal out. So we're going to replace the seals on both sides. Then you got to take the yoke off and put a seal behind this because it was leaking earlier. Definitely want to fix that before we put it in the truck. So I'm going to go get a hammer and I'll be right back. Alright, now we just got back from the parts store. We're going to go ahead and put the wheel seals in. The best way to do it, take a hammer or some kind of flat surface and put on this and just tap it in there gently. I like to put some oil on this so it goes in a little bit easier. Then after this, we're going to go and take the pinion off and put the pinion seal in, and I'll show you how to do that also. So let's go ahead and we'll put the wheel seals in. Alright guys, now what we're going to do, we're going to take the yoke off. There's a bolt right here. You're going to need an impact or an air impact of some sort because this is torqued and it has a lot of pressure on it and needs to be broke loose. Break that loose, take the washer off, then you're going to need a hammer to knock this off because it is pressed on to the pinion. And once you do that, you'll be able to get to the wheel or the pinion seal, which looks bad. So we're going to go ahead and zip this off and knock this pinion off. Alright, so now we got the pinion off. It's threaded. It will go back on a certain way. Here's the nut. Take the nut off. It comes off like this. The threaded side goes out. The washer went on before. And here is the pinion seal. It's all nasty looking, and see how it's all bent up. It's probably why it was leaking also. So we're going to take it out now. You're going to take it out the same way you took the wheel seals out. You're going to need a pry bar of some sort or a screwdriver, and you're just going to have to pry it out. And then we'll put the new one in. So we'll do that now. Okay, it took a little longer than I expected. See how the seal is? I had to pry it out with a screwdriver and bend it all up so I could even get it to come out. That one's really hard to get out because of the pinion. You just gotta be careful. Don't mess up your threads while you got a pry bar in there or whatever. But now we got it out so we can put the new seal in. Go in the exact same way as those seals. Just put it in there, tap it in with a hammer real slow. Good to go. Just don't bend it so it doesn't leak, or don't mess up this rubber edge around through here because that's what seats on the pinion and rides up against the yoke around here. That's why it leaks, because it slings oil. So now we're going to put the seal in and then we'll move on to the next thing. Alright, next thing we're going to do is probably going to be the last thing, because I was going to put the diff cover on today, but they didn't have it. They had to order it. It's supposed to be here tomorrow, so we'll do that tomorrow for another day. We're going to go ahead and stick the axles in. All we got to do, slide it in, click and go in. It's going to be easy, and don't knock the spider gears out. You can turn it and they'll fall out. We just got to stick the other side in. It doesn't hurt to put some oil on these. I didn't, but put oil on those so they're already pre-oiled. Just like that. Make sure our spider gears are lined up. Now what we're going to do is put our C-clips in, right here beside me. Just take your C-clip, slide it in, try not to drop it all the way through the housing. Try this again. And you just want to push the axle back out so it locks it into the groove. There's a groove that the C-clamp sits in. Same way with the other side. Simple as that. When you take your pin, the pin will only go in one way. When you take your bolt, stick the bolt in, and tighten it down. It is 5/16. You might have to screw it in because it's a tight fit. Screw in with your finger. Just tighten it up. Be careful, don't break it because that is a very small bolt. I'm good at breaking stuff off. And the rear end is put back together with all new seals. Now we'll just wait for the housing tomorrow and we'll start from there. We're still going to tear the rear end down, so we're going to take the brake lines off, take the emergency brake cables off, clean all the grease off of it. There's a lot of grease on top. We'll have all new seals. It's all cleaned out. Should be good to go. We'll get it all painted. Be ready to stick back in the truck. And we'll probably do another episode on us. But for now, thanks for watching. This has been Daws Custom. My name is Dawson. See you guys next time.